Well, actually, yeah, good afternoon. So it is Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time. I'm Steph Lee, the founder of Host Agency Reviews, and this is the Friday 15. Thank you so much for tuning in on your busy Friday, getting ready for the weekend. Today, we have a co host on that you may recognize, Lori Speers with Levarte Travel. Hello, Lori.
Hello, and I'm so glad it's Friday, and I'm so glad I'm spending Friday afternoon with you.
I love Friday. I just really need to figure out how to pass legislation where it's a 2-day work week and a 5-day weekend because a couple weeks ago I had that and I was like, this is perfect for me. I can do this.
I just now have life balance right now.
And you know what? People are going to go for this. They're going to love it. Yes, the businesses won't like it, but the workers will.
I don't know. I think that would cause me too much stress, but I could take Friday afternoon off. Okay, I'll start there.
So everyone, now you know Lori's and I's work ethic here. Clearly opposite ends of the spectrum. Well, let's see if you have questions that you need answered or are wondering about anything in the travel industry that's puzzling you, you can send them in to us and we will answer them. If we don't know the answer, we will find someone that does. You can submit them by going to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. Um, Couple things. So we have we're kind of this year's a little bit weird. We've been having a lot of webinars earlier this week. We had the G Adventures webinar, which we'll link to in the comments. Next week, we have a webinar with Gifted Travel Network coming up that we'll link to. And then also, if you actually, you know what? I think I have a QR code that I can put up for this. Oh yeah, I'm so on top of life. If you want to sign up for our webinar reminders for any webinars that we are putting on, either through our partners or ourselves, you can scan that QR code or there will be a link in the comments or description for you. So, Lori, let's get into things. We have got a question from our first one comes in. Whoops, actually, that's the wrong one. I went too far down. All right, our first one comes from Meseret, and it's I found a host agency which fits my requirements, but they don't have any reviews on host agency reviews. Wah, wah. Um, is it okay or not to work with host agencies without any reviews on their profiles? That's a really great question. Lori, what are your thoughts?
Well, it is a really great question.
It
And
is.
it doesn't necessarily mean the host agency is bad, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it does mean that host agency isn't trying to get their members to post reviews. It is a process and you have to have that process in place. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, ICs are individual business owners and they have their own business. So we can make suggestions as a host. Please go in and put a review. And we can even run a contest or something like that because we know they're important. But it's still up to them to go make the review. Same with the Google review, any type of review. But we at Levarte Travel really push for our advisors to go in there, our business owners to do a review on us. And it's up to us to remind them to go in there and do that. So I wouldn't write it off. It just might mean that host agency isn't working on that. My advice at a host agency is make it a priority. It's worth it. We all love reviews, don't we? That's how you hear what's going on there from people that are there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of along the same philosophy. It is amazing when hosts can get reviews, but some of the smaller ones may have forgotten or it's good that they're listed on host agency reviews. So a couple things I would say is I would ask for references from that host agency for agencies that you can call, that you can speak with them, jump on a video call with them. Google them, check their Better Business Bureau, make sure that there's no complaints from customers or advisors against them. If you want, you can email the HAR team and we can let you know if we've heard of the host agency because sometimes they host advisors, but they're focused on other areas of their business. If they're consumer facing, they might be focusing on that. And so we might be like, oh, yeah, we know those people. They're legit. It's totally fine. they just for whatever reason don't have reviews. And then the last thing I would say is I would encourage them to get involved with host agency reviews and let them know it would be really helpful for you when researching so you didn't have to do as much work, that the reviews were already there for you. So if
Right.
you have any questions on it, that's a great question. You can let us know. But the other thing I would do, and this is not saying that people that do not have reviews on our site don't have good contracts. This is good policy for whenever you join a host, whether or not they have reviews. But Meseret, I would say I'm going to link to an article we have about contracts and what to look for in contracts with your host agencies. And make sure you check that over, because my concern would be if it's someone that doesn't host a lot of independent contractors, there you want to make sure that there's things in the contract, certain things um, that protect both you and the host agency so that you're both on the same understanding. Like if they don't have that infrastructure perfectly in place yet, you want to make sure that you're pushing them towards that.
Right. And I like what you said about getting references.
Yeah.
I would have no problem sending out any of my advisors' names to somebody if they wanted to talk to them to see how it is here, so
Yeah.
that should be a no brainer.
Yep. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Okay, next question is from Anonymous. There's kind of two in here. So let's start with the first one. Is there an advantage to working with a host agency that has a storefront? What are your thoughts on that, Lori?
Um, well, there's always advantages and disadvantages on a storefront host. And I know that leads into the next question. If they're,
Should I,
yeah, put it
I'll
all
say,
together.
okay. So
Yeah.
the other part of it is, could you also explain what the host type is on the HAR profiles? What is host only and what is hybrid, which is the host and travel agency? It's my understanding that all host agencies are travel agencies. So while you're answering that, Lori, I'm going to pull up where they're talking about on the
Okay.
site.
Good. Good. Okay. Well, first of all, storefront, there's different kinds of storefront. A host agency could be a storefront, but that's because they have an office and want to work together, but not necessarily one for customers to come in and see an agent. Okay. But if you're speaking of storefront where customers come in the door, that's different. So there is a term called hybrid. There's host agency only. That means they are strictly host agencies. That host agency really doesn't go to the consumer to sell travel at all. That host, this is what we are. I don't sell travel at Levarte Travel. All my staff supports all of our advisors in different ways: training, events, help desk tickets, phone calls, staffing the phones. Our purpose, and we're a host only, is to develop and make sure our advisors are successful in their decision to be in their career in travel. Now, some have a travel agency. I'm still a travel agency, and we do still do groups and stuff, but they're groups of our advisors. But there are some hybrid, which are sometimes the owner themselves or several of the staff that are employees for them, not ICs, will sell travel. And they'll
Mhm.
sell travel. And so they're consumer facing. So they're also out there selling travel and trying to get clients and be an agency. And they take on some ICs or independent consultants to, and then you work under them and sell your own travel. Whether or not they provide leads to you, I don't know. That's between you and that agency. It is kind of murky right now. Host is a real fine line. And the new term hybrid host and host only is also kind of different, because it's funny. I'm host only, but we do also sell travel, but not to the consumer. We don't go
Mhm.
out there and actually sell it. You'll never see my Facebook advertising travel. My Facebook is advertising to become a travel agent
Yep.
and how we can be the best fit for you that way. And so that, I would say, that's my explanation of the difference. What can you add, Steph?
Thanks, Lori. Well, first of all, I pulled up the screen. So this is a host profile, and you can see like one of the first things under the in the metadata under company details, it'll say the host type, and it'll either say host only or the hybrid. So the one thing I would add to that, like in terms of if there's an advantage to it, the advantage would be to having a storefront. If they have a storefront where actually consumers come in and maybe sit down, the advantage would be if you're a local advisor that can go into their storefront and maybe if it was really important to you that you wanted to be able to see those customer interactions and see how that like that you could kind of watch and learn from how their storefront is operating, that would be the big advantage. But there's no need to be with a local host agency unless for some reason you wanted to be able to come into the office. Some people that makes them more comfortable, but in today's virtual world, I would I would say it's very rare that people sign up with a host agency that's right next to them. Because Lori, you have ICs all over the country.
Yes, all over the United States.
Yep.
And I would look more for, even it could make you get more customer facing, but it could also make you get less support because they're going to be real busy in that office with their own bookings.
Hmm.
My advice to people when they're looking for a host is look for one that's going to be there to support you and train you and assist you,
Hmm.
especially if you're new to the industry or young to the industry, because you need that. And it doesn't have to come in a storefront. Sometimes virtual, you can even get more that way.
Yep. Yeah, so and then in terms of the like pros and cons of storefront versus not like you'll sometimes maybe hear people in my opinion there's pros and cons of each and it really comes down to what you're looking for as an
Mhm.
advisor. The one thing I will say is sometimes I've heard host agencies say if they work with consumers, there's the chance they might take your clients. And I have never, ever heard of that. That's something I don't think should even be on the table as an issue. It doesn't, stealing your clients is going, you're the one that's fulfilling them for them. And, you're
And
like
that
a,
and that goes back to contracts again. Whether
mhm,
it's a storefront or it's not a storefront, it's virtual. Make sure you have a solid contract with who you're working with. So all that's laid out at the beginning.
yep.
So it wouldn't make a difference because it's all already been talked about.
Cool. Yep.
Mhm.
All right, last question is from another Stephanie. This is from Stephanie Yu. So she says, "Good morning, Steph. Before I start with my confusion, I want to tell your team what an amazing job you and your team do. So thank you. I just passed the roadmap to becoming a travel advisor course last Friday. I'm excited to figure out what is next for me. So, for those that don't know, we'll link in the comments. This is Asta's course on kind of the overview of the industry, what it's like to be an advisor. I worked on the course and wrote it. And so we'll link to that if people are interested. I took part in Host Week 2023, which again we'll link to in the comments if you missed that, which was so eye-opening on how the industry has changed and evolved. So a little of myself and what my confusion is. My name is Stephanie, so um I'm on the right road with your guidance since we are name sisters. Love it. I live in Massachusetts, but I'm originally from Mexico City. I'm married and have two daughters. I am ready to focus a bit more on myself by doing something I love, organizing experiences and adventures. And this is where I'm stuck in a crossroad. I want to start working and becoming more knowledgeable in the industry by working with a host agency, but I'm not quite ready to leap out on my own yet. I'm not sure which host would be the best fit for me, someone that has never done this before and would love to start this new adventure. Um, so, Lori, it sounds like Stephanie's looking for some advice on if you're a new advisor, how do you get started in the
Right,
industry
right. Well,
with a host?
first of all, everything she said are things I like to hear in a new person. Okay. Just everything she just said. So you want to, first of all, go to host agency review. Okay. Look over the host agencies. And I know there's a lot of them. Read the reviews and actually contact that host agency and have an interview with them. I do this, and I'm sure others do too. Twice a month, I do a segment called Learn Love Levarte. And you can sign up for that Zoom. It's all over the place. You can sign up for our email list that'll get you invited to that Zoom. You could go to my Facebook page. You could go to my website and ask more information. You can set up a meeting with us and just ask us questions. You interview us just like we interview you. And what do you feel like you're going to need? I mean, I mentioned earlier the support, especially if you're new to industry and it sounds like you're jumping in the deep end, with both feet, and it's not easy. And we're going to tell you it's not easy and it's overwhelming, but it's so awesome too. And it's so awesome to be in this industry. But you have to
Mhm.
understand the whole reality of it. And you have to dedicate yourself to being trained right away, not just jumping in and booking reservations right away. Um, and that it's a little bit of a journey. So when you will find when you talk to the host agencies where you feel that warm and fuzzy, where you feel like they're in line with what your values are in your wanting to enter this industry. It's not hard, but I would talk directly to them. That's absolutely have an interview with all of them that you're interested in.
Yeah, that's perfect. Um, the other so a couple things I'll say, the 7-day setup accelerator course that we have here at Host Agency Reviews, Stephanie, is gonna be a really good kind of it bridges that gap from when you've decided you wanna become a travel advisor, but you aren't sure, like, the next steps. Part of it is we walk you through finding a host agency. There's online work that gets done, but with the accelerator course, what's nice is there's a course community where you can ask questions to not only your peers going through the same thing, but the HAR team is in there and active in there. And the other thing is, then we have twice a month, monthly calls where you can ask host agency reviews live questions, and it's small group, which is really nice. And then the other thing is we bring in travel experts, so things like attorneys or suppliers or other advisors. Um, to give you in-depth details about certain things and that you can ask questions to. So I'm going to link to that because I think that's going to be really helpful to you if you're stuck. For anyone that's stuck at this area, it really, really helps to have a community to hold you accountable and to express your doubts to instead of going through it alone. I know
Absolutely.
when I started my company, I went through it alone and it was really difficult. I wish I would have been able to brainstorm with other people at the exact same spot as me that can empathize with me, but also people that knew what they were doing because I had no idea what I was doing.
That is great. Also when you're interviewing your hosts, ask them what type of training they have in support, not just what they provide.
Yep.
One of our best calls that we do at Levarte is um, our peer training. Every month, Tuesday night, we do Lift Off for Profits, and it's where one of our advisors is training. So they're giving you their processes and insight. That's the best form. So if you
Yes.
get that type of internal training, and you know what, when I do my Live Love Levarte, and just those are not members yet, that's the interview Zoom. Now, Steph, that you said that, all the questions I get are coming from this path that you're putting them on. I
Oh,
love
that's
it.
awesome.
Yes, I love it because they ask questions and I'm like, wow, I'm always so impressed the questions they're asking, but it's because of the support and the help they've got on your journey with host agency review. I could
Yay!
tell.
Yay. Well, Lori, okay, so one thing I would love for you, I'm gonna give you homework after this. So for those that don't know, we have an events calendar in here. And Lori, I would love to get those twice a month calls you have on here. Hold on, let me shrink this down. So there's about 70 different industry events in here, everything from FAMs to webinars to conferences. I'm gonna put the link to this in the comments for everybody. But Lori, get those on there so people can sign up for them through host agency
Oh,
reviews when they're looking around.
absolutely. I
Um,
will do that.
yeah, so we are also going to link to Levarte's host agency reviews profile. For those of you that fell in love with Lori during this, you're not alone. So we'll link to the profile so you can check it out. Upcoming for our Friday 15s, we have March 22nd. We're going to have Katie Williams on with Turn, which is a travel technology software that does itinerary building, a CRM. I think it might have commission tracking in there too. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head. But if you have questions about their product, please submit those. And then March 29th, we have April Swales with Uniglobe Travel Center, which is a host agency. April 5th, we have Oasis Travel Network. I believe it will be Jill that is going to be on. Um, And if you have questions for them, please submit them. Again, you can do that by going to hostagencyreviews.com/Friday15. And oh, why am I so big and you're so small, Lori? Oh, there we go. Okay. uh, so thank you for joining us, everyone, this Friday. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time. Don't forget to sign up for our webinar reminders. You can join us for those too. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thank you everyone who tuned in. Happy Friday.